For more on what the NDP is hoping to see in the upcoming budget and what it means going forward, let's bring in the party leader, Jagmeet Singh. He's here live with us this morning. Nice to see you, Mr. Singh.
Good to see you.
I want to talk about dental care expansion, mental health transfers. What assurances have you been given that those issues are going to go ahead? Those are the two issues you've talked, I think, the most about recently.
Absolutely, you're right that we really focused on how we can save people money, and I think the budget has to do that. So we laid out that dental care is something that's going to help people with their health. It's also going to save people money. We estimate at least $1,200 a year will be saved by having a program that'll be covering children 18 and under, seniors, and people living with disabilities. We also want targeted measures to help people, just give them a break, give people a break with the cost of their groceries, their bills. And so that's something we also want to see, the GST rebate doubled again. And those are two things that we made really clear we want to see in there. We don't also know what's in the budget, so we can't say for certain, but we made it really clear these are things that we need to see.
The dental care, though, it's part of your agreement, your supply agreement, so presumably that will go ahead, otherwise the government's in some trouble. The other point, the doubling of the GST rebate, again, is that part of that agreement, or this is an additional ask that you've made of the government?
Yeah, this is something that we fought for last year. Yeah. We started with the idea in May. Everyone came out opposed to it. We had some economists come out and point out this is non-inflationary. This will help. Putting a little bit of money back in people's pockets is the right thing to do. And then we eventually got it in November, so Canadians started receiving it. And now we want that to happen again. The cost of food is still really high. We know lots of people are struggling. This is a way to help people save money, put money back in their pockets, and we really believe this is important.
As you heard me asking Minister Champagne there, it does sound, though, as though from what Minister Freeland has said publicly, they're pretty limited in what they can do or what they're willing to do for people who are struggling. Who do you want them to target if they're going to offer more supports?
Well, people that are feeling the squeeze, like people that their budgets are tight. You know, a lot of Canadians are struggling with that. And the GST rebate does really speak to a lot of those folks that are feeling that squeeze. It's 10 million Canadians in the last year that we were able to help out, and it's giving people a break. Really, it's giving people their own money back in their pocket. It's the right thing to do. So that's something we want to see happen. In general, we also want to see in this budget not just helping people save some money and help people keep money in their pockets. We also want to see investments that help us create good jobs. And that's really important with us. And we also want to see strings attached with those jobs. It can't just be money given away without a guarantee that creates a job in Canada, apprenticeships in Canada. We also want to see good union jobs as well.
I want to move on, if I can, to the issue of foreign interference, because earlier this week the House passed, it was an NDP motion, non-binding, but still, for a public inquiry into foreign election interference. What impact do you think any of this is having on not only the government, I guess, Mr. Singh, but also David Johnston's, the pressure on him to make a recommendation to the government for something broader?
I'm hoping that this is increasing the pressure. We started with putting the motion forward in a committee. We then wanted that motion that was in committee to be brought to the House. And we're ramping up that pressure, making it really clear that the will of Parliament is to have a public inquiry. More important than that, this is the will of the people, because the allegations have really eroded public confidence in voting in a significant way. And it's something concerning to me because I want people to vote. We know the outcome of voting. Because people voted for New Democrats, we're fighting for, in this budget, dental care and supports for people, helping people get a break. And so we want people to know that they can vote, their vote matters, and the public inquiry is a way to give people that confidence back in the system.
What do you say, though, to people who suggest that the public inquiry won't be able to really openly demonstrate what we're talking about because so much of this material is classified?
Well, there are absolutely, appropriately so, information that will be classified, and that's in our interest for national security. We don't want other nations knowing details about how our secret services work or the way we gather information. So there's absolutely information that has to remain confidential for our own national security interests. But there's ways to work with that. There's ways to still express what happened, what different levels of government knew, what steps were taken that still respect national security, but give people confidence that steps are being taken, and that if there was a mistake made or if there was some oversight, that's being rectified now. These are the questions that Canadians want to know answered. They want to know what the Prime Minister knew, when he knew it, what he or his office did about information or didn't do. These are really important things, and there's got to be a public airing of that.
When things like this happen, where you are asking questions of the government, you're maybe uncomfortable with their answers, or you don't think they're being forthcoming enough, does that give you pause in your supply and confidence agreement? Was there a moment over the course of the past number of weeks where you thought, I don't know about this anymore?
Well, I've always said that the agreement isn't one where we walk in and it's always a perfect relationship. It's we fight for things, even if they're in the agreement. We've got to push the government to deliver, so it's not easy. There's lots of moments where we say, you've got to do this, or if you're not doing this, you're not following through on the agreement. So there's a lot of tension. It's not an easy walk in the park. There's tension. We continue to fight and to push. And this is another example of some serious tension. We believed very firmly that the government had to stop the obstruction, had to provide access to a witness, and we forced the government to do that. We're going to be very firm on accountability while we're also forcing this government to work to make sure life is better for Canadians.
So if there's no public inquiry, would that give you pause to pull your support?
Well, that's not a decision we're making today, and we're not going to presuppose the outcome of the special rapporteur, but we do believe a public inquiry is necessary to give people confidence.
Okay. Listen, I'm sure we'll talk on Tuesday too to get some reaction to the budget. Thanks for making the time this morning, Mr. Singh. Appreciate it.